Okay. Good morning. Good morning from Pinhole Quilting. This is Liz. Pete is in the background. He's not going to show his face at all because I haven't been able to do his hair. We've been so busy that there hasn't been any time at all to cut his hair, and he's almost got to the point where he could have a man bun. I think I said that last week actually, but hey. It's been a long week. We've had loads of classes this week. We've got 3 more next week. And it's been great to see so many customers. Actually, Pete, it's got really hot in here. Have you noticed? The sun's just come out. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether I'm going to cope for 50 minutes.
I'll get some
I think we might need
through.
some, you know how you have those sudden hot dews? We were freezing about 20 minutes ago because it had clouded over. Anyway, welcome to Pinhole Quilting near Pershore. For those of you who visited this week, I hope you had a lovely time in the Worcestershire area and that you enjoyed visiting our showroom where we've got it all set up beautifully for our classes. And it was just lovely to have this showroom. That's our bell. Pete just opened the door because I was just about to have a hot do. It was great to be able to actually have people using our sit-downs and our stand-up machines. We've got a total of up to 12 people who can have a machine each here at the showroom. And we had Abigail here this week. So today is the Queen's official birthday. Official birthday, not a proper birthday, not the day she was born. It's her official birthday. And on the Queen's official birthday, various people have awards. So for example, Prue, it's Leith, isn't it?
Prue Leith.
See, I've got a terrible memory for names. I'm having one of those days. I've been kind of one of those days where I've dropped a lot of things. I'm sort of a bit dyspraxic today and I don't remember names very well today. So Prue Leith, who does the Great British Bake Off. Prue has been given a dame. She's now dame, isn't she? I think.
I don't know.
We haven't really been watching the news today because we've been a bit busy. But anyway, various people get awards. And the people who get awards, those people outside the UK, it'll be things like Sir or Dame, or there'll be OBEs, MBEs, that's Order of the British Empire, Member of the British Empire. And one of the awards is the British Empire Medal. And we have learnt that, and I put it on our Facebook page this morning, that Abigail, Sheridan de Graaff, Handi Quilter Educator, Abigail, has been awarded the British Empire Medal, which is a fantastic achievement. So she is listed in the Queen's Birthday Honours List 2021 for her exceptional service in all the work she did for the Warwickshire Scrubbers in setting it up with her friend Rachel. And they worked tirelessly along with all the other people who put together the PPE equipment for all the doctors and nurses and all the other people who worked during the COVID pandemic, particularly in the early days when there was a huge shortage of all the equipment that was needed. And I know that there were a huge number of people, and in some ways it's representative of the fact that so many people put in a huge amount of effort. And I know that Abigail acknowledges that a lot of other people did a huge amount of work, and she has said as such. But I know that it was an enormous amount of work. And it wasn't, for Abigail, it wasn't, quite honestly, you know, she is an incredible quilter. And you might think that it was because she was sewing. Actually, it was the organisation. Abigail is a fantastically organised person. And it was the organisational side of coordinating things and driving fabrics around and making sure that, I mean, you know, there was thread and stuff, you know, some of the glide thread from us and other people, and there was fabrics and all those other bits and pieces. And it was coordinating all of that. I mean, 16, 17 hours days, it was a lot of work that was put in by a lot of people and coordinating all of that. So fantastic achievement.
And I see that Abigail is actually watching this morning. Abigail, what are you
Well
doing
done.
watching us on a Saturday morning when you should be just drinking champagne and eating caviar, doing all those things that British Empire Medal winners should do?
So we were chuffed to bits. We were chuffed to bits. I got a bit teary-eyed. I'm getting a bit choked up now thinking about it. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I am again. I will regroup. I will regroup because I'm so thrilled for you. I'm absolutely thrilled for you.
Abigail says the champagne is chilling. Quite right, Abigail.
You should be. You should be. Cheers, Abigail. A toast to you
yes,
for what
absolutely.
a huge achievement. I salute you. We salute you. I'm going to regroup. And say we look forward to seeing photos of you receiving your British Empire Medal and seeing. I was going to mention the crest of arms. So. It's absolutely brilliant, and congratulations to all the other people who've had accolades and awards, and all the other people who did the most amazing work during the pandemic. Because I know personal friends who've done the most incredible work as nurses and doctors during the pandemic, and kept everything going. Who made incredible personal sacrifices. So thank you, each and every one of you. We all appreciate it. So I will move on from that because I just really wanted to acknowledge it and just pause for thought as we think of all of those people. Well, Abigail was here this week and helping, in the knowledge that she'd got that award coming up. I don't know how she concentrated. As she did the Foundation Plus and the Rulers, Feathers and Fills, she managed to go with those whilst knowing that this was about to be announced. So I'm just getting the board over here. I'm going to look back at the camera because we had some fantastic work going on during the Rulers Foundation Feathers and Fills yesterday. And I posted a photograph on our Facebook page saying that we're about to have Facebook Live. Apologies for it being slightly late. After we've done the classes, we do, there's quite a lot of effort goes into the classes and preparation and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes we need to regroup. But today we had Facebook Live, so I was kind of thinking, all right, we've got to get this done. And I posted this photo of some rather interesting underside tension. So this was a great example of, now, Georgie, I said I would mention her, she was okay with that. Georgie, absolutely great lady, Georgie. She brought along some amazing, incredible threads and things, and she's let us have some of these from way back when Lurex was in. Remember those days? So we're going to be able to couch with this kind of stuff. So that was very generous. Thank you very much, Georgie. Well, Georgie wanted to sew with 2 threads through 1 needle, which is one of the things that we do. So she loaded up her 2 threads, thicker needle. I think you used a 19 or a 20, not quite sure. Perhaps you could post on what you use. And you put in your thicker needle, which was great. You put in 2 glide threads, you got an Amara, so you put in your 2 threads onto your twin cone holders. You put it through, and then we saw the result. Well, actually, we heard the result, didn't we? Because it sounded quite noisy. And the reason was that the underside was like a bird's nest. So we've posted it on Facebook. And the reason was that the top tension was just way too loose. But it provided lots of entertainment for everybody else as we all had a good look. And we did, sorry Pete, go on.
Sorry Georgie, I did laugh when I first saw it. I know I shouldn't, but
we all laughed.
I know you can take it. She used a size 18 needle.
Oh, you're only an 18? Okay, it was 2 threads, 2 glide, just about get away with it. I would personally use a 19 or 20. With 3 glide, I would definitely have used a 20 or 21. It goes up 21 on the Handi Quilter machines. 18, you might get some shredding after a while, but actually it looked pretty good with your 18. That's interesting. Okay. But what was great was everybody could hear and see the results of not having enough top tension. What did we do? We tightened it up then, and then it sewed beautifully. So, 2 threads through 1 needle, blending that top thread and getting a lovely result. We could have just tweaked it a more, perhaps sort of 5-10 minutes on that top tension, just to increase it so that it wasn't showing on the underside. But it was a great learning experience, wasn't it? And it reminded me, didn't it, of, well, I say didn't it? It reminded me of the learning experience I had back in 2010 when I went over to Salt Lake. And I had exactly the same experience that I hadn't flossed up properly. It was on an Avanti. And with the Avanti handlebars, sometimes if you're slightly vertically challenged, as I am, that the handlebars get slightly in the way of being able to see where the flossing is. And I didn't see that I hadn't flossed up correctly. And Vicky Hoff came over, corrected my flossing technique the first time, but the second time when I got it wrong, Vicky said, "Okay, everybody come over here and see what Liz has done." And everybody did, and I've never forgotten that moment. And it's been forever in my memory, and I had the opportunity to do the same with Georgie yesterday. So Georgie, you probably will never forget it too, and you will always remember how to get the tension correct for 2 threads. So these are all good learning experiences, and we will always remember them.
So quite rightly, most of the comments this morning are all about Abigail.
Good,
which is
good.
great. Which
Absolutely
is great.
fantastic.
But I'm just struggling to find the quilting-related questions.
We could just stop now. We could just stop now. We'll go home, get in the garden, and just
Abigail,
toast Abigail.
You should have stayed an extra day, Abigail, and you could have just run it this morning. Would have been easier. Lindy, I see, has mentioned that she's used a size 18 needle with 2 threads without any issues.
Great. Good to know. I mean, Glide is very slick. And so, I mean, I've used 2 threads of cotton and I've gone up to 19. So maybe that's the thing, is that with 2 slick threads, maybe it doesn't have the issues that 2 non-slick threads might have. Just go with the lower one and then try it. And if it frays, you move up. So good. That's good to know, Lindy. Really good to know. So what else is on my board? Next week we've got classes on foundation on Tuesday. If you're coming to the classes and you're watching this, bear in mind this unit, as you'll have seen from my winter warmer clothing, and I can really recommend for the winter some long johns that have got fleece liners. It gets very cold in here in the winter, but it's very warm in the summer. But we've got both doors open. It was really nice in here with that beautiful breezes running around us. But it does get warm, so layers that you can remove if it gets warm. It shouldn't get overly hot, but it does get warm. And so if you're coming on Tuesday or Wednesday and it's still hot, definitely layers. And we've got foundation on Tuesday, Foundation Plus for those people who participated in our virtual classroom. And we're looking forward to that. And then rulers, feathers and fills again on Thursday. And then that's us done until September. We're planning on running classes in September, and Abigail and I are going to get our diaries together and put together the schedule for September. And we'll be announcing that shortly so that you can plan your diaries. Obviously, this is all partly dependent. It's all dependent upon what the announcements are vis-a-vis opening up, etc. But by September, hopefully, we're all okay anyway. So what else? That's it. So we got a really good offer for you coming up towards the end. I will talk about that. But what I'm going to do is do some demos. So the demonstrations this week are all about fine threads. Fine threads, because we've increased our thread selection. We will be increasing it further over the next few weeks. And Georgie was very keen on getting some more threads, because we've been experimenting with threads in our rulers, feathers and fills classes and trying them out. And I know people would love to buy more of the threads that they tried, so we will be getting more in as soon as I've got some time to order them. And I know what I want, and it's not just a personal choice, but there are some lovely threads out there. So watch out for our website. We'll be telling you when we've got them in. The ones that we're going to demonstrate today are some of the newer threads that we've got, which are the Invisifil, which is one like this, Invisifil. Comes on a cone or comes on a spool, like so.
Yes.
So if you've never used it before, spool is good because it's $4.25 normal price. 425 for 400 meters, and or you get 2,500 for £11. So it's not a huge investment. And Deco Bob, that's 100 weight. And Deco Bob, which most of you will be familiar with because we've been stocking the pre-wounds for quite a while. Deco Bob, we've been stocking the on the cones for a while now, well, for a few months, 2,000 meters, and that's £9. And that comes in a nice selection of colours. And we'll probably expand the colour range. I haven't told Pete that yet, but we'll probably expand the colour range over time, because I'm sure it'll get more and more popular.
Okay, couple of questions coming in. So somebody said, I can't find it now, somebody said, was there a possibility of a whole cloth type workshop?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
That's something that they would be interested in.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Another question from Sian. Sian, morning, Sian.
Good morning, Sian.
Are we attending the Festival of Quilts? Yes, we will be attending the Festival of Quilts. We have a lot of classes going on at the festival.
We have.
Almost all of which are already sold out, unfortunately. There will be 6 Amaras in the classroom. Different teachers, different subjects, mostly sold out, but we will also have a stand at festival too.
Yes, we will. Absolutely. Okay. So other fine threads, I mean, we call fine threads anything from 60 weight and above. So the 60 weight that we've had a while is the Glide 60. So on a black cone, and you get, it's 5,000 meters on here, isn't it?
Yes.
This is £11, is it?
It's £12.
£12, okay.
It's 5,000 meters for £12, so it's good value. It can be used as a bobbin thread as well. So various people I spoke to at the classes this week, some of them love using it in the bobbin, some like using it for their fine work on top. And I think it was Georgie who said she uses it for her piecing too.
For which
piecing.
One? On the Glide?
On the Glide 60.
Yeah, no, I've actually used I've used Deco Bob for piecing too. The other use of Deco Bob is for applique, invisible machine applique, English paper piecing. There's lots of uses. If you look on our website, you'll see there's a few different uses listed. When I used this for piecing of an apple core quilt, and it was really, really good because your seams are so flat because there's practically no bulk from the seam line. So that's a really good thing. The other thing is we do these mixed boxes. Probably see the thread better that way. There's 3 different selections of these. We've got them on our website. We've got to redo set 2.
Set 2. Yes.
Set 2. We've got to redo.
The photo is wrong on set 2 at the moment.
Yeah, we've got to redo that collection. We've just changed the colours a little bit, just tweak it so that it's not so much repetition between the sets.
But there are 10 different colours, 3 spools of each. Is that right?
No.
Yes. Yes.
Is it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
There's 10. Beats the accountant for that reason. I should be able to count to 10. I really should. I did an accounting degree, but you can see why he did it as a career. Okay, so that box of 10 that comes in 3 different sets also is a great way to build the collection without having to get like 24 of a single colour. You might not want 24 rust-coloured bobbins, but if you do, then great. Otherwise, they do these kind of combination ones. There's basic, neutral, stone, sand, pastel, blend, gems, Christmas and wood as little collections where you get 6 in a pack. So there's those mixed packs, there's the solid colours, and there's our own collections that come with a Handi Quilter bobbin box. So that's quite a good way to do it. Now, I'm going to do some some sewing. So I'm going to do, I haven't set up. I mean, I have not prepared for this insofar as I thought I would do like you're going to do, which is start from scratch.
Maureen is asking, what were you doing with that bobbin in your hand? I think you were just playing with the bobbin, weren't you? I don't think you were doing anything particular. I think,
this one?
Yes, I think it was that one you had in your hand.
That's just me messing around with it, I'm afraid. Because I was thinking, when I did this before, I think I used this colour. So I was just sort of messing around with it.
That's amazing fabric, isn't it?
It is. It's a little bit fine, and I didn't get my tension quite right. So this was my sample. This was a sample piece this was my test piece for my Ricky Timms Convergence. And as I was discussing with some people last week, that this was a test piece where I used Glide 40, and I was really not happy with my test piece. This is why we do tests, because I did like scribble, and you can see, and the reason this is a test piece and why I'm sharing it with you is because this test piece tells me that Glide 40 is too thick for the scribble for this. So when I do my proper Convergence quilt, I will not use Glide 40. On the back, I used Deco Bob, and I used this one, whatever that colour is. But on the top now, I have a selection of different, very fine threads that I can use.
Okay, somebody thought you were just removing your 20 arms lengths from the Deco Bob, which I don't think you were, but actually that is absolutely correct.
That is correct.
We recommend you do.
I'd already started this bobbin, so I don't need to do that. But these are some of the threads that I would audition to use on this particular quilt sample, so that I can see whether this will work for what I'm trying to do. So the idea of what I'm trying to do on this is I'm going to knock back some of these areas. I don't really mind what happens with this, because it's not going to be used for anything in particular. It's just to test how this will what it will look like when I've knocked back certain areas and when I've done sort of some parallel lines on it and done some pebbling. So I've put the micro foot on to do some scribble, and then I'll swap it if we've got time. I've talked quite a bit. These are new Fitbits, Pete, and I'm not sure that they're working very well. I'm going to do some scribble, and then I'm going to do some parallel lines with the Surefoot. Okay?
So Linda says that she uses 40 weight for scribble, which is fine. It just depends what effect you're after.
It is, really. Because I'll post the photos later of what Georgie did yesterday with the Invisifil. And what I'm looking for is a ghost appearance. So the idea of my final of the Ricky Timms Convergence is that it'll have the Convergence quilt will be. Shall I get the Convergence quilt? Because it might help me just to explain it. Is that okay? It's just in the box over there. Okay. Just keep talking, Pete, while I just grab it. Because it is relevant.
Somebody, I guess we might be able to guess who, says, will it need binding?
Ah, yes it will. Yes, please. Yes, please.
And Kate, Kate, I was wondering if you've managed to sort your tension out. I'm pleased to hear that the suggestions I made have got you back on the right track again. That's great. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't that I don't use 40 for scribble. It's just that on this quilt, I don't want to use it for scribble because I don't want it to be so heavy. So this is the Convergence quilt. And is that okay like that?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Just place it a bit further over there.
Right. Sort of. Yep. So what I want to do is, this is on point, obviously, and I want to have a quilt either on point and offset behind it to make it look like it's a mirror, a shadow behind it. So my scribble will be a shadow. I don't want it to be so defined. That's the idea of it. So that's why I need it to be much lighter, and that is going to be too heavy. So it'll be in this area behind it. And I might well do it so that it's actually, as I say, offset or actually square. So rotated 90 degrees. So that's the idea of it. So if I did that in 40 weight glide, it would just come forward too much. But if I do it in 100 weight, then it'll look like it's just a ghost of the original quilt. And I'll do it with the same width of lines and the same sort of base colours, i.e. these greens and oranges and yellows and things. So there we go. That's the idea.
So Tricia asks that she said she saw a Wonderfil leaflet and the glamour as well as other threads seemed interesting. Any plans to extend the ranges into more Wonderfil types?
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked at those. Yeah. open to any suggestions. If there are things that you think look interesting that you'd like to play with, then yeah, just let me know.
Is that a quilt that will need binding as well?
That one. Yeah, I've kept the bindings. This is the binding colour.
Carolyn, she's kept some fabric for you.
I've kept the fabric for you. Yeah, I've got just enough for the binding in that orange colour. Perfect. Right. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my bobbin. So yeah, if it was a brand new bobbin, I would have stripped off the 20 arms length. Correct. So I'll take this one out. This is one we've been using for the class.
The reason for that is that Wonderful do overfill the bobbins, and it's to stop the thread from spooling off the bobbin and getting caught up in your bobbin case.
And we didn't clean out the bobbin area from the previous class. So with the insight table, this is the Sweet 16 with the insight table upgrade. There's 2 little black knobs underneath here. So the nice thing about this table compared to the original Sweet 16 table is we could just pull this forward so we can get access to the area under here. There's not much lint actually. A little, oh, there is. There's a bit, she says. Okay, there's a bit more lint than I expected. So it's all kind of kicking off here. Here we go. It's good. Janice has done lots of work over the last couple of days, which is brilliant. She got on really well. She's got the Sweet 16 with the insight table.
We're out of stock of the insight table upgrade for the Sweet 16 at the moment because it's been a very popular upgrade, but we've got some more that are being shipped from Handi Quilter next Friday. So within a couple of weeks, they should be back in stock.
Yeah, so I've just put a dot of oil at the bottom of the hook assembly. And that just means that every time I change my bobbin, if I do that, it'll just keep that nice and lubricated, and means that my machine is nice and happy. That's really the only maintenance that you have to do, sort of keeping that area nice and dust-free as much as possible. Every now and then taking that stitch plate off is a good idea, and removing any dust from the top. And if you have any thread breaks, getting rid of any excess thread as well. So that's pretty much, that's me happy there.
Janice, we don't expect you to clean the bobbin case.
Oh, is that?
If you come on a class, don't worry about it.
No. That wasn't a hint.
And Graham...
I'm really happy that you got on with your machine so well.
Graham, who's recently got the insight table for his Sweet 16, says that he loves it. Great.
Yes. I saw that comment on Facebook, Graham, and that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, right. Morning, Steph. Morning, Steph from Stockton. I'm sorry I haven't got back to you with your email yet, but I will do later.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I think Steph was interested in coming to an open day.
We will
be planning.
Yes. Yeah, we just, I think that's going to be sooner rather than later, actually, Steph. Isn't it, Pete?
I hope so.
Yeah. So did I put, that was Invisifill. So I'll use the 14 actually to begin with.
Right, so we've got a bright orange Invisifill on here.
Yes.
On top.
So I'm going to use my my hex to change the needle here. It's got a 16 in there. Put that back, ready for the classes next week. Pop that out. So these are these industrial needles are just completely round. So if anybody doesn't have one of the Handi Quilters already, these are different from your domestic machine that doesn't have a flat, which the downside of that in some ways, I suppose, is that you can get it in the wrong way around. But we do teach you, and there's lots of instruction videos on making sure that this is oriented correctly. And we basically put it in so that the long groove is facing towards you. If you think about it, it's where the thread goes. So the thread comes down the front. So when we put it in, you make sure that's facing towards you. And if you've got really bad eyesight like me, you can just double check that that's in straight. straight towards you, and then you do the final tightness. It's really important because these are very fast machines that we make sure that that is nice and tight, that there's no chance of having any kind of vibration knocking that out. Threading up, I've put a thread note on this because anything like a fine thread or metallic or any of those kind of threads where it can puddle, I've used a thread net. It's actually a thread net from letterbox flowers. When I saw the letterbox flowers come through, I thought that's actually a thread net. The blooming wildflowers, very handy. I'm just going to put this through the top one. When it's a fine thread, I tend to just put it through that guide and just through the top one.
Nikki, there is no automatic way of knowing what needle you have in your machine, so you need to make a note when you put the needle in the machine. But every needle has the size of the needle printed on it. At the blunt end of the needle, it's in very, very fine print. But every needle actually says what size it is. But your eyesight needs to be tested to look at that. Maybe some sort of magnifying glass or something, or take a photo. But it is possible to see.
It is. It is possible to see.
For those of us with really bad short-sightedness, it's very easy to see.
There's very, very few advantages to having absolutely rubbish eyesight. But Pete and I have almost exactly the same prescription. So we can see the needle sizing on the end of the needle. Now,
so, Georgie, no, we don't have that bright orange in stock at the moment.
Not at the moment.
No, Liz started off with the more neutral colours, but
I did, but
we will be adding to that.
Yeah. So to floss up and to get it in these tension discs, what we do is we literally floss it up like you're flossing teeth, and then the other side of the spring. And then the first thing I do is I'm just going to test and just see what that feels like. That feels pretty good. So I'm just going to go with that and just test it out, basically. Whoops, drop the end of my scissors.
And yes, Linda, using your phone on Zoom is a great way of seeing very fine print like that.
Ah, yes. That is. Right, actually, I that off a bit. Now, for those people who've got the more recent machines, you do actually, more recent Sweet 16s, you do actually get a tension readout that you can use. So when you're using a similar bobbin tension or similar bobbin thread, and you're using the same top thread, you can make a note of the tension readout. It comes out as a number. It's unique to your machine. It's not, you can't sort of go, okay, you're using a Sweet 16, so yours is 400, mine will be 400. It's not the same across machines. But it is, for your machine, it should be pretty similar when you thread it up. So it's a good reference when you're using the machine over and over. Okay, so let's get rid of these bits. Just going to do some scribbly here. I'm going to use these sweet spots because the sweet spots are quite a useful little tool that I quite like using. Now I've got 2 layers of wadding here, so it's sort of slightly catching on what I'm doing here. I'm going to go over one of these orange sections and just knock this back. Actually, no, let's do it on the blue. It'll be much more fun.
Get a bit closer for this.
And I'm going to go, actually, I'll do this on a quick bit of sample. I'll be messing up my piece first. This is the same. So I'm testing it out on my same test piece. It's got the same double wadding on as well. So just make sure. And whenever I pick up my bobbin thread, I always just pull on it and just make sure it's not got sort of hooked up or has come out of the bobbin spring or anything annoying like that. And then I just test that. Now I've got it on a regulated stitch at the moment. I'm going to do scribble, so actually I do want it in manual because I'm just going to kind of go at my own speed. But otherwise I would have it in the regulated stitch. So let's have a look at that. Right, so I need to tighten it a bit. So what I could see, I'll show you in a second.
So Liz has got the micro foot on here, which is the perfect foot for your micro quilting.
And I'm just looking at the underside each time. That looks pretty good. Just knock that up. And I'm sort of leaving it so it's needle down when I stop. So let's have a quick look at that. Yeah. I'll do it on the blue. You'll see it better on this piece. But I've just done my test stitching. Always test out, test, and always test on something similar to what your main piece is going to be like, because otherwise it's not a representative test. So on this, I've got double Hobbs heirloom. I decided to go for something so that it made a nice defined piece. So needle down, needle up, and I'm going to do my... Now, actually, I'm going to move, just rotate it. Let's put my needle down so that my two magic eyes are covered. Now, with these magic eyes, actually it's not so relevant because I'm doing manual, but if I was in regulated, I do need to have like a piece over here so that if the magic eyes get uncovered, that they're still being read for this sort of regulated stitch. Not so relevant when I'm doing manual because it's not using those. Right, here we go. I'm just going to do a micro little stipple here. Do a little bit more and then you can flip it over. I shall move into the side and then we'll finish off so that you can see it. So that's my little micro stipple on the back and on the front. So that's quite a nice little contrast to the blue. It's kind of changed the colour of it. And over here, I'll just compare it to actually doing like a complete knockback. Okay.
So the orange thread next to it, Liz, with the pebbles on. Yeah. That's the 40 weight line.
Yes.
So you can see the difference here
between
difference.
Yeah.
40 weight and the 100 weight Invisifil that we've just been doing.
Absolutely. So it's just kind of like making the blue look just a shade different in a way, particularly since now what I'll do is a bit like on, say, did I knock this back here? No, I haven't got any of the orange where I knocked it back like I did this. But maybe if I do some pebbles. Should I do pebbles or should I knock it back? What do you reckon? I'll do the knocking back first. How much time have we got? 11:46.
Watch that, Liz, sweeter.
Okay, thank you. We've got new Fitbits, and they don't have like a button. They don't have a button, which I don't know about anybody else, but I kind of like a button. It must be amazing. Right. So, I mean, the nice thing about this is it's just so fine. It means that when you're doing things like pebbling, you can go over and over and it doesn't have such an impact. You know, if you go over and over and it's a glide 40, you really notice the impact. And we were discussing this with the ladies on the Rulers, Feathers and Fills class, and it makes a big difference. This is the selection of thread choices that make a huge difference. And, you know, a very good person to look at the quilting is it Linda that's commenting? Linda Jackson.
Linda Jackson.
It is. Yeah, I mean, Linda's quilts are a great example. Like Linda's Silver Linings is one where Linda used that beautiful radiance fabric and totally transformed the look of the individual sections. And I think Linda's quilt that she's been working on recently is also one where I think, Linda, you've been changing the look of each of the areas with the thread. And it's just a fantastic technique.
So there's a vote for pebbles.
Oh, yeah?
So that you can compare with
the one above.
40 weights.
Okay, let me do that then.
Okay, Sally, you were first in, so on the basis of a vote of one, that's a democratic...
Okay. Now, with pebbles, the thing, is it a mnemonic? I don't know what it is, but it's small, small, bigger, biggest. I'm going to try small, small, bigger, biggest. This is Nancy Christopherson that showed me small, small, bigger, biggest. Oh, let me just get rid of that little bit there. That's going to stop me moving.
So Linda says, yes, that's correct. She put some photos on LONGARM Learning Curve, but can post more if you wish.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'd love to see more, because your work, Linda, with threads is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could, and if there's any examples, Linda, that you could send that you'd be happy for me to post on the Pinhole Quilting, or if you can send more, we can discuss that, because it's great to show examples where where it transforms the background. Small.
So hopefully you can hear me over the machine at the moment. You can see the spring moving backwards and forwards here on the tension assembly. There were 2 occasions this week in the classes where customers had somehow not threaded the machine correctly, and they didn't put the thread around the spring. So the spring wasn't going backwards and forwards like that. Interestingly, the stitch looked absolutely perfect on the top, so there was no way of knowing that was a problem. But on the underside, there was a problem. Not a big problem, but there was a slight problem with the tension, with the top thread showing through. But it was amazing that even without that thread going behind the spring, the stitch was pretty decent. Now, we don't recommend doing that, of course. It's there for a purpose, to bring the thread back up and pull the top thread up ready for the next stitch. But it just shows you have to be very careful to thread the machine absolutely perfectly. So Linda's also saying that the smaller the stitch, the less the thread shows.
Yes.
Okay, so there's Liz's pebbles, done in a very similar size to the 40 weight pebbles. And I'm really quite close to this now. This is only about 4 or 5 inches away from the surface. And you can see there is a huge difference in the impact of that. And standing at a normal distance, you don't really see the thread very much at all, even though it's a very bright contrast.
Because I'd only gone round once or sometimes twice on that in the glide, I did the same with that. With the Invisifil, I could have gone round more times to really make it pop a bit more, but I decided to do what I'd done with the glide, not do what I would normally do with the Invisifil, which is go round several times, because you can, if you understand what I'm saying. So this gives you more freedom than that, because that really does build up very, very quickly. So that's one of the options with that.
Question from Helen: could Linda do a class about thread effects? Well, Linda, you could answer that question, but we'd be very happy to host it.
We would. You've got so much experience, no pressure. Yeah. Yeah, listen, you know, we've got this facility here, so let's discuss. Let's see what, you know, people are definitely interested in these things. And we've got lots and lots of options. We'll have more options on thread as well as time goes on. Other options, yeah, we've got the other colours that we've got here. I think this is the nude, isn't it? We've got in, but we don't have the pink in yet. These are my samples from way back. But yeah, we've got all of the 60 weight is very good as well, obviously. And needle size 12 or 14. So the deal that we've got, you've seen how we've used that 100 weight. You could get similar effects with the 80 weight, and there's more colours in the 80 weight, the Deco Bob. So the deal that we've got is if you spend over £30 this week until 11 a.m. next Saturday on 60 weight, 80 weight, or 100 weight, and that includes Deco Bob pre-wounds. If you spend over £30 in total on any of those threads, we will include in your order a free pack of 12 and 14 needles. So that's the, did I bring the pack over?
No, but it's
these two. So the 12 and 14, it's only for long arm machines, these. So I know it only applies to our long arm customers, but those are the 12 and 14 needles. They're the sharps, 12 and 14. So those are the ones that you'll need to use with the Invisafill or Deco Bob. So if you order, you know, that with a spool of Deco Bob, for example, or even a small one. No, not quite.
Sorry,
no.
a mixed pack.
Yeah, if you have a mixed pack, for example, and you have that, you would get that free, worth £8, for example. Or if you had that, whoops, that's that, you would get that for free. So it's a relatively small spend. Or if you bought a packet of our pre-wounds in the Handi Quilter box, you would get your needles for free. So that's our offer this week. We hope that you've enjoyed hearing a bit more about the pre-wounds, and that you've enjoyed seeing the live demo. I'm going to be taking my Ricky Tim's Convergence Quilt apart, because every time I look at this, I kind of think, I really want to finish that so that Carolyn can bind it for me. And I know that she really wants to do that. I really should buy my own quilt, shouldn't I? That's terrible. But I'm looking forward to doing this. What was interesting was when I went to Houston and did the fantastic one-day course with Hollis Chatelaine and met some amazing quilters. And the lady that suggested that I do it with this sort of shadow effect behind it went on and won one of the categories at Houston. And I've got like the little drawing she did in my book of how she thought I should quilt it. And I mean, she's like a top quilter. And I thought her idea was really, really super for this idea of a shadow behind it. So cool. Anyway, that's
to see the finished product.
It will be. Pete will be as amazed as everybody else will be when I actually finish it. But I hope everybody has the most amazing weekend wherever in the world you are. It's going to be a beautiful weekend here in the UK. It's going to be hot. I think we're going to have actually a nice relaxing rest of the day and Sunday because it's going to be a warm day. And we're probably going to do a little bit of gardening for once. So maybe kind of try and recover the garden from the wilds. It's become a bit of a wildlife reserve this year. Anyway, have a wonderful weekend. Congratulations once again to Abigail. We are absolutely thrilled, over the moon for you and also for Rachel. It's absolutely wonderful. And congratulations to you and all the other Warwickshire Scrubbers who helped you along the way and made up the group that achieved so much this year and last year in providing all of those PPE for all the doctors and nurses. Absolutely brilliant. Great. We will look forward to seeing you next weekend. However, am I right in saying it's the weekend after that? What's the date, baby? Yeah, the weekend after that. But neither of us will be here the Saturday after. Pete is away. Pete is on cricket tour. And I am at a friend's wedding doing photography for a friend's wedding. So we won't be here the Saturday after. So we will let you know. I don't think we'll be doing it at all because I think we've got other stuff. So we'll have to skip a week. but we will look forward to seeing you otherwise next weekend and 2 weeks after that. But listen, have a fantastic week. Happy quilting. And we look forward to seeing our customers this week for the 3 days of classes. So catch up with you then and have a wonderful time. Take care. Bye.